What if I told you someone you smiled at today, laughed with, or even chatted with casually might be silently fighting the urge to disappear forever? I bet you'd never know, because suicide doesn't always look like sadness. Sometimes it looks like strength. Sometimes it looks like, well, I'm fine. Today, we are not just talking about suicide. We are uncovering the psychology behind it, the hidden patterns, real life stories, and most importantly, how to stop it before it's too late. Before we go deeper, I want you to do something. Just pause for a second and ask yourself, have I ever felt so overwhelmed that I just want everything to stop, to just end it all? If your answer is yes, then you're not alone. And if your answer is no, then this video might help you understand someone who has. Let me tell you a story. There was this young man, let's call him Henry. Henry was the life of everyone, funny, charismatic, always smiling. People say things like, man, I wish I had your energy. But what they didn't see was what happened when he got home. It was total silence, darkness, and a mind that wouldn't stop attacking him, saying, you're not enough, you're a failure, no one actually cares. Unfortunately, one night, he wrote a message saying, I'm tired of pretending, and he almost ended his life that night. What happened to Henry is called masked depression. People don't always show their pain outwardly. In fact, some of the happiest looking people, even the ones who smile often, it would amaze you to find out that they are the ones struggling the most internally. You would ask yourself, why is that? Well, that's because they've learned to hide pain to avoid burdening others, perform happiness to feel accepted, suppress emotions instead of processing them. Now, imagine a different scenario of a woman named Ada. She's a top student, having a very successful career, admired by everyone, but deep inside, she felt empty. No matter what she achieved, it never felt like it was enough. One day, after receiving a major award, she just went home, cried for hours. You'll be thinking it's out of joy. Not at all, but because she felt nothing. This scenario is linked to existential emptiness and high-functioning depression. Sometimes, suicide is not just about pain, it's about lack of meaning. When people tie their worth only to achievement, lose connection to purpose, or feel emotionally numb, they begin to question themselves. What's then the point of all this? Now, let's talk about someone else. A young boy who's barely 19. Very quiet, reserved, and always alone. Most people would think he was just introverted, but in reality, he was battling loneliness, rejection, and a deep feeling of invisibility. So one day, he posted online that no one would notice if he was gone. Of course, most people would ignore it, but days later, he attempted suicide. Well, this connects to one of the strongest predators of suicide, which is the perceived burdensomeness plus social isolation. This is when someone believes that he or she doesn't matter, no one cares about them, that the world will be better off without them. That's when the risk becomes extremely high. Now, let's break it down simply. It is understood that most suicidal thoughts come from three major psychological forces. One, pain, which is the emotional or psychological pain that feels unbearable. Secondly, hopelessness, that belief that things will never get better. 3, disconnection, which is always feeling alone, unseen, unloved. When these three combine, the mind starts looking for escape routes, not necessarily death, but relief. I want you all to reflect again. Have you ever thought of being tired of everything, that no one understands you, like you just want peace? If yes, that doesn't mean you want to die. It actually means you want the pain to stop. And that is a very important difference. Now let's talk about the real solutions to overcoming the thoughts. Firstly, you have to name the pain, because when you identify your emotion, you will reduce its power by just saying it clearly. I feel overwhelmed. I feel rejected. Guess what it does? It then activates the rational part of your brain. Secondly, try to maintain connection over isolation, because even one person can make a difference. Just try to call someone, text, sit, chill out with someone, because when you're isolated, it fuels suicidal thoughts, but connection with someone actually begins then. Third, try the micro-purpose strategy. Don't just search for life purpose overnight. Start small by getting out of bed, taking a walk, and try completing one task before another. because small wins gradually rebuilds meaning. Suicidal thoughts and urges are often temporary. You have to tell yourself, no, not today. I'll revisit this tomorrow. That delay alone can actually save your life because that delay will make you see reasons to keep living. Lastly, seek professional help. Therapy is not weakness, it's a structured healing. It's just having a trained mind assisting your mind overcome unwanted thoughts and urges, that's all. There are two powerful, popular encounters I will disclose that will show something simple but life-saving. It's about an encounter of a young boy named Noah. He was ready to end his life after relentless bullying. But when his mother reached out on Facebook asking people to write to her son, over 7,000 people responded with love messages, reminding him that he was loved. That flood of kindness didn't just comfort him, it gave him a reason to live. In another case, a teenage boy in China stood on the edge of a bridge, overwhelmed by hardship. A waitress named Liu approached him, but didn't try to lecture or fix him. She simply stood there, listened, shared a bit of her own. That act alone was enough to pull him back from the edge. You'll be amazed to know that people don't always need solutions. What they need is just connection. To help curb suicide, how we relate to others matters deeply. As humans, we should learn to listen more than we speak. Sometimes the greatest help isn't advice, it's presence. Let people feel heard without interruption or judgment. Small acts, kind words, checking in, a message can mean everything to someone silently struggling. We should learn to validate people's feelings instead of dismissing it like, don't worry, you'll be fine. Rather, acknowledge it, empathize like, that sounds really hard, I understand how you feel. Because feeling understood reduces isolation. Likely you did, opening up appropriately can remind someone they are not alone in their struggles. You don't need to have the right words, just being there can interrupt a dangerous decision. Now, let me leave you with this. For those of you battling with suicidal thoughts, you are not weak for feeling that way. You are human, and your mind is just trying to survive something it doesn't get to understand how to handle. But here's the truth. Feelings can change, situations can change, you yourself can change, and the version of you that survives this might one day save someone else. If this video touched you or made you think about someone, then share it, because sometimes it only takes a single video, a single conversation, a single moment to be the difference between life and loss.